Shalom, Thawada, Yahweh Bashma Washai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, for giving us the understanding of the Holy Bible through their men, starting with the apostles of Great Millstone, who are worthy of double honors, and Yahweh Bashma Washai, Bahashem Rakakwadash Brakatham, to the 144,000 servants and the remaining elect of the nation of Israel. So I want to say a few words concerning this dramatic incident that took place earlier on with Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion of the world, and this individual that pulled out a gun in the midst of Mike Tyson saying Shalom, which, my initial reaction upon seeing this video, which I uploaded on my channel, was that, it was staged, it was a setup, in which I still believe that to an extent, because I do find it odd that you had a man, just pulling out a gun in front of Mike Tyson like that, saluting him, saying Shalom, which is what we say, those of us that's within Israel, those of us that subscribe to the doctrine of Yahweh Shema Shai and are learning the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kodash, we say Shalom. So, I just found the whole thing a little bit suspect, if you will, and I still do, like I said, I still find this situation interesting and suspect. But also, I'd like to make mention of Elder Apostle Tahar and the video that he made, because, his perspective was good and edifying, because indeed this word, right, the word of our Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, this truth, the truth of the Bible, and this great awakening of the Hebrew Israelites, is definitely catching on and is garnering, if I'm using that word correctly, it's garnering fame. All right, so you have that perspective, and then you also have the angle of, what is Esau doing in the background in terms of him, demonizing the Israelites, so to speak. And we can't forget the words of the Apostle Paul, when you go to 2 Corinthians 2, verse 11, he said, lest Satan get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So us brothers, from the head apostles on down, we're not ignorant of Esau's tactics, his wicked plot in terms of demonizing the Hebrew Israelites, in which that's what I thought this to be. Okay, I just thought it to be another situation where Esau could demonize the Hebrew Israelites or make, the brothers look like madmen, so to speak. Okay. It does say in Psalms 37, let's get that, Psalms 37 and verse 12. It says, the wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. And that's pretty much what Esau is getting ready to do in terms of demonizing and persecuting the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, he's getting ready to, come against us with all that he has, so to speak. And that's what this whole Project Megiddo is about. You can look that up in your own time. That's what this whole Southern Poverty Law Center is about, which is pretty much an organization, that create legal cases against, so-called white supremacist groups, so-called hate groups, which includes the Hebrew Israelites. You can also look that up in your own time. And also, if I'm not mistaken, he's got a booklet, the FBI, that is, the FBI, they have a booklet on racially, ethnically motivated extremism, which includes the Hebrew Israelites, which I brought that out in another lesson. So, these are things that you can look up in terms of Esau coming against the just and gnashing upon us with his teeth. All right, because like I said, Esau is going to come against us with everything that he has on the table, all right, and more, so to speak. But we know, according to the prophecy, as it's written in Isaiah 59, verse 19, it says, when the enemy comes in like a flood, then shall the Spirit of the Lord lift up a standard against him. So, those of us that's within this truth, we don't have nothing to worry about because our Lord, Yahweh Shai, is going to fight for us, all right? And he's going to give certain brothers, certain men spiritual power during that time, when they come in like a flood. So we just have to wait and see what happens according to the Spirit. The wicked, of course, we know being Esau, Edom, pursuant to Malachi 1 verse 4, which are these so-called white people beginning with their wicked elite. And they're plotting against the just, right? The righteous brothers, the righteous men, and, a few sisters that are within this truth, that know that they're Israelites and that are teaching that they're the sons of the Most High, Yahweh Shai. That's who he's plotting against. And so, like the Apostle Paul said, we are not ignorant of, Esau's wicked devices, his schemes, his trickeries, and his plot to come against us. All right. And that's why the Apostle Paul also said, let's get this here in Ephesians 5 and verse 15. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. The word circumspectly means to look around. So we're supposed to be watching everything, all right? Everything that's happening out there in the world, and of course, everything that's happening within our world, all right? The world of Israel, within this truth. Because as Elder Apostle Tahar has been bringing out for the longest, you have a lot of spies out there. You have a lot of agents out there, agent provocateurs and whatnot. So us brothers, we need to be on our watch continually. It says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. And what makes us wise? Adhering and operating in the Spirit, adhering unto these scriptures. It says in verse 16, redeeming the time. Why? Because the days are evil. And we're living in some very evil days, and things are about to get really hot in the Spirit concerning this truth, concerning Esau, Edom, coming for the men of the Lord. All right? So the days are evil, and ultimately, it's our Lord that's bringing this evil. We understand that pursuant to this here in Isaiah 45 verse 7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, whose name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai, do all these things. And knowing this is what keeps us stable, right? Knowing that ultimately Yahweh Shai is in control. This is what keeps us at ease. And understanding these scriptures, hence Isaiah 33 verse 6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Right? And as we just read in Ephesians 5 verse 15 and 16, we're living in some very evil times, evil days, whereby the wicked, Esau, Edom, are plotting against the righteous, us brothers that's within this truth. So, like I said, upon seeing this earlier on today, my eyebrows raised. I found it to be suspect, but also with Elder Apostle Tahar's understanding, it does make sense because, this word is definitely getting out there. And, Jake is basically catching on to, this whole Israel thing, so to speak, day by day, which is bringing more fame to this truth. Okay. But nonetheless, these people are definitely watching, because even in this article, they use that word shalom. I'll show you real quick if I can find it. Bear with me. All right, let's read from this paragraph here. It says, the man then screams New York, Brownsville, referencing the neighborhood Tyson grew up in, before firmly shaking his hand again, grasping it tightly with two hands and leaning in with his forehead. It says, he then shouts, Shalom, which, like I said, this is how we salute one another. Okay. And this is the Paleo Hebrew word for saying peace. It says, he then shouts Shalom, which translates to may peace be with you in Hebrew, and salutes Tyson before walking away. So, it's interesting that they're, you know, bringing this information out because, it makes you wonder where they're getting this information from. I mean, it's not rocket science. However, we know that the small hats, the 1948ers, they don't say peace this way. They say shalom, Shalom. Whereas us, right, the so-called One Westers, or those of us that came underneath, the brothers that were in One West, we say Shalom, which is according to the Paleo Hebrew. So it's just interesting. That's all. This whole situation is quite interesting, but it is what it is. I mean, all we can really do is speculate. Whether this was an agent provocateur, to make Hebrew Israelites look crazy, or whether this was just a genuine wayward Jake pulling out a gun in front of Mike Tyson, and saluting him, sincerely. The Lord knows, right? But what we know is this, according to 2 Corinthians, and I guess I'll end it here, 2 Corinthians 13 and verse 8. These are the words of the Apostle Paul. It says, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth, which is very comforting because as much as Esau tries to demonize the Hebrew Israelites, as much as he tries to make us look wicked, crazy, weird, terrorists, in his media, it all works in our favor as the potential men of the Lord, as the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Even when he comes for us, right? When he comes to persecute the men of the Lord, it's going to work in our favor because we know that that's end game when he does that, pursuant to Revelation 7. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Lord willing, use edified. And until next time, Shalom.